Good morning! It is morning, right? I haven't checked outside. Yes. I kid. It is morning. Good morning. Um, Today I'm gonna delve into opinions and whatnot of the Final Fantasy series via a tier list. I've never done a tier list before, but I thought it would be fun. Um, it's gonna be controversial. I'm gonna be spitting fire. I I hope people can forgive me, but I'm gonna have some very strong opinions. I'm not trying to start some trouble. I'm just gonna give a view of the Final Fantasy series from the point of somebody who has, well, been hardcore gaming since I was a little baby. I didn't become a hardcore Final Fantasy player until I want to say 15 years ago. I had played a few throughout my childhood, but it was only technically recently that I started really delving into all of them. And then again, there's the whole a good chunk of the games weren't available in America at launch, and we've only just gotten a few of the really good ones. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy V. But without further ado, how about we head over there and take a look? It's my Chromecast, right? Yeah. Doot. Ta-da! I was debating having background music, but I know if I do, I'm gonna get copyright struck again. So you're just going to have to enjoy my sultry voice. Yes. Alrighty. Without further ado, let us, begin. I have the wrong window open. There we go. Hello. Man, I feel like this video is gonna be like 4 hours long. I really hope it isn't. I gotta keep my opinion short. So again, I have never done a tier list. They feel very personal and very opinionated, so you can't go based off of one person's feelings of a game. Um, that could be applied to anything. What am I talking about? But this is my personal feelings about the series thus far. And yeah, it's gonna be a bit nasty. Pros, cons, plus sides, bad sides. Come on. All right. So I played the original Final Fantasy 1 on NES ages ago. This game holds a very, very special place in my heart. I want to put it between A and B. However, when it comes to replayability, I can dive into this game and just absolutely spam through it. Specifically, the remakes really make the game shine. Obviously, if you play the NES version, you're playing for nostalgia and nostalgia alone, since a lot of the coding is absolutely effed. Personal preference, I really loved the Game Boy Advance release since it added additional content and kind of made the game a little bit more interesting. On top of that, graphics and everything were beautiful. So good. I am trying so hard not to cough. So yes, personally for me, Final Fantasy 1 sits at the top of the list just because, like, while it wasn't my first Final Fantasy, there's just heavy bias and nostalgia for it. If I was to say anything bad about it, we've got the issues with the coding for the original game. Like, damn near nothing worked. Nothing worked as intended. So, protect spells, buff spells, spells that are meant to enfeeble enemies, nothing worked. So it was essentially just brute force your way through the game. The story was pretty simple, nothing crazy. Nothing that would bring it down, but nothing that makes it interesting. Nothing too interesting. What was that other thing? Oh, right. The combat system, the combat system's good. However, there's very little growth and change with leveling your characters. You can't change jobs. You can't really add stuff to it aside from armor. There are, yes, a few types of armors and a few weapons that can deal elemental damage or reduce damage from elements, but it's very limited. So, honestly, a negative critique would be the game's kind of boring. But overall, my nostalgia and my bias immediately put it in a 1 for me, in a S rank slot. Let's see. Now, Final Fantasy II. This game I didn't get to play, and I didn't beat until the PlayStation Portable version for PSP. Duh. The game's story was interesting, but it was over too fast. It just felt like you ran up a hill and then fell off a cliff and it was over. The combat system, and I know a lot of people will hate me for saying this, was kind of cool since there was no leveling system. It was, if you use this, it gets stronger kind of thing. So if you take a lot of damage, you'll get more HP. If you attack with swords, you'll get better with using a sword. It was kind of a cool concept, and you were able to personalize your characters and make them unique. It had what Final Fantasy I was lacking. The problem is the grind. If you wanted to actually be proficient and make a decent character, you had to grind. Enemies not giving XP really messed that up. Because you could do a fight and get no skill ups from it at all. Zero. None. Zilch. And it could be really, really frustrating wanting to actually make progress in story, and you can't because the boss is sitting there beating you up. Because the 20-something monsters you fought in the previous room didn't give you any HP ups. Health points. I guess that essentially covers both the pros and the cons. The game has like, on a scale of 1 to 10 for me, the replayability is really low. I can do it. The problem is I don't want to. And it's the skill system that makes me not want to. Story was good. This game brought in so many things that would become constant reappearances throughout the series. The bomb type enemies, chocobos, Sid. That kind of thing. I think that's it. The skill system really is what brought the game down. If it had been more guaranteed or ways to just not waste a player's time, I think I would have put it much higher, and the game would have probably ranked better in a lot of other people's eyes. Okay, let's move on to Final Fantasy III. I want to put this in S tier. I really, 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 really do. But I think it's B. So I didn't get to play through Final Fantasy III until it came out on DS. And everyone who knows a 3D game on the DS looks like butter pushed through a mesh. It is unsightly. It is yeesh. However, horrible graphics aside, I really did enjoy playing through it. Um, I will say it's the first time in a long time a game has actually like properly beat my ass and made me feel bad for not taking the time to level up, get better, and find better gear and actually think. I'm looking at you, Salamander. Went into that fight and he just used Blaze Breath, and wiped my party. And it's just like, oh, you're serious. Okay. Give me a second. I don't remember how many times it took me to beat him, but that right there, that is a memory that's stuck. Um, positives. Obviously, the job system. This is the first time the Final Fantasy series had brought in the ability to change jobs on a whim, and you were able to jump across from being a fighter to a monk to white mage, black mage, all that deliciousness. So yummy, so good. The downside is the system was kind of shit in the original release, and then in the DS release, you were actually punished for changing jobs. In the original one, you had to accumulate capacity points, and you had to essentially pay to change jobs. I think that's how it worked. And then they changed it in the DS version, where you had to had to fight a set number of battles before you could start earning XP again. And it's just like, no, can we not? Can we not punish the player? Don't punish the player. You don't want to punish them for wanting to have a good time. That's bad. And it shows because in the Pixel Remaster, they completely removed that system. Sadly, the scope of jobs and the actual implementation of them was so kind of poorly done that you could get through the game with your starter jobs and not have to worry about the others. With a few select bosses really forcing you to change jobs and actually try with those. Bosses like Hien at Hien's Castle forces you to have a scholar in your party. More so in the DS version than the Pixel Remaster, because you scan the boss. It says weak to lightning. You go and have all your characters set up to use lightning. The boss goes first before you attack and changes to ice, making the whole point of scanning pointless. So what you end up doing is just flicking random magic until one lands and then going crazy. Or in my case, being overleveled and, well, just slapping him with a sword until he falls over. So yeah, the job system was underutilized and left a lot wanting. The story was good. Lore was nice. But yeah, I think what brought the game down was the job system being so limited and it holding you back from actually being able to expand, enjoy, and go crazy. Do 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 do. I suppose we'll go on to everyone's favorite boy. This is where I'm going to start getting flack. Please don't hate me. So most people will take Final Fantasy 4, and they'll plop that bad boy right here, right in S rank. I'm going to need you boys to sit down, okay? You need to understand something. This motherfucker goes right here. I'm going to tell you why. Great story. Beautiful story. But the leveling, the creativity of having characters with unique abilities is trash. Y'all may love this game, but do you know why you really love it? Because you can pick it up, you can play it in one sitting and be done. It takes zero thought in developing any of your characters. The only thought you need to have is, what do I kill to level up? And that is, sorry, lazy. But again, story's okay, could be better. The fact that the job system was gone and there was no creative way to actually build your characters up, that kind of hurt. It left the game feeling really wanting. However, the casual free nature of it, the fact that you could play it and just kind of plow through mindlessly, made it really, really replayable. I don't know how many times I've played through this game, but it's too many times. It is a good. It is good. I will say that. It is good. But it is not S tier. No. I'm sorry. You know what? You want to be in B tier? You want to be in B tier? No. You sit right there and you think about what you did or what you didn't do. Now, those of us in America didn't get this delightful baby, Final Fantasy V, until I think the PlayStation release. Hilariously and absolutely sad. When I bought my copy of Final Fantasy Anthology, it didn't have the Final Fantasy V disc. It had 6. And it had a demo disc for the PlayStation Magazine, but it didn't have Final Fantasy V. Later on down the line, I did get a copy of it, but that was kind of insulting. Not gonna play around, gonna be very honest. 5 is top tier. Can any of you wonderful babies tell me why? If you said story, you are correct. If you said battle system, you are correct. If you said music, you are correct. I only recently 100%ed this game. I say recently, it was like ages ago.
I'm an old man. I'm so old. Yesterday. 10 years ago feels like yesterday. Yes.
But, so I had a blast playing through the story. I had a blast playing with the job system. This game's job system, you can change jobs on the fly, kill enemies, gain points to learn abilities. As you level the job, you gain special moves for each job. And the part where this comes into just absolute awesomeness is, as you master the jobs, those innate abilities become available to Freelancer. Meaning if you master every single job, if you play every single job, and then you switch to Freelancer, you are a fucking tank. And it is by far one of my favorite things to do. I've played the game multiple times. I've 100%ed it probably 3 times. And the 3 times I 100%ed it, my ass was grinding the battle points to max out jobs so I could become a freelancer and just slash my way through the game. Story great, battle system great. Honestly, the music was good, but it was this weird halfway point between Final Fantasy IV and 6. So there were some songs that really hit good, and then others where it's like there's a kid sitting next to you banging a steel drum, or not a steel drum, a steel can. at really weird times during the music. Aside from that, it's good. I think what kind of holds the game back is there's a lot of missable content and no way to go back and get it. You could miss out on some of the most incredible stuff in Worlds 1 and 2 and not have any way to get them once you're in World 3. A lot of Blue Mage spells are hard to get. Some of them are not rewarding. You work your ass off to get them, and it's just like, what? It does nothing. But, still good in my eyes. Crap, I lost track of what I was thinking.
Oh no.
If I was to say anything bad about it, I feel like, it needed a little bit more hard content. Something to really push leveling the jobs and to challenge players for leveling those jobs. Because essentially it was figure out what you need to do for a boss fight, switch to those jobs, and slap, slap, slap. The super bosses did do an alright job of this, but maybe the game's lacking a bit of customability. I can't talk. I am so sorry. But yes, that's FF5. I am very biased to it because this is the first time Blue Mage came available. And when I was introduced to it, when I started Final Fantasy V and there was a Blue Mage, I went back to Tool, and I believe one of the NPCs there talks to you about Blue Mages and learning enemy skills. And I was just like, tell me more. And I started running around learning spells and abilities from enemies. And I wound up on my very first playthrough of the game having my characters on Blue Mage damn near 90% of the time. And I loved it. It's an all-arounder. I can put up shields, I can heal, and I can deal the deeps. Everyone loves being able to deal the deeps. I do have a very vicious bias towards the game, which is more than likely why it's sitting in the S tier. But I do believe it is a good one. Moving on! I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to tell you this right now. Regardless of if you are a fan or not. This baby right here? That's Best Baby. That Best Baby goes in its own tier. This one, right here. This baby is better than all of them. I don't care who you are. That is my personal opinion. That'll forever be my opinion. This game did nothing wrong. But let me go into detail and explain. It had an incredible story. It had unique characters with deep lore, and god damn, you just you get the characters, you learn about them, you learn a little bit about their backstories, and when you get to endgame, they do it all again, and you can dig through and find out more about these characters, unlocking even more, just, I don't know what to say. It's like looking at a spider web. When you get to the end of the game, you find out how a lot of these characters are connected, how their stories, like, played out, how they were affected by the Empire, and how they inevitably all got brought together by the events of the story. So, story and characters, blam. Just good. Period. I gotta be honest, I think my one drawback of the game is the job system's kinda ooky. Everybody has a job. Everyone has their respective thing they do. But all characters can learn magic. So everyone's essentially a black mage, white mage, everything mage. Which, in the right hands, turns them into just beasts. Mm. Mm. I don't know, man. Just, I have a huge bias for the game. The music's beautiful, the game, all of it is good, but it just, it's hard to point out a flaw. Hmm. I suppose, I think it suffers from Final Fantasy IV, in which you can play through damn near all of the game before actually like hitting anything that's remotely hard. Um, but this is both a point in its favor and against it. Its ease of access makes everybody like love it. You can jump in and have no trouble at all. However, therein lies the issue of having a challenge. You want to be able to be challenged, and it's okay to be challenged, but it's like damn near most of the game you just throw your characters at the enemies and you win. But yeah. 6 is good. Has a small drawback with maybe a little too casual to start, but still good. Y'all are gonna hate me for this. Let's just put that right there. And we're not even gonna talk about it. You can stay there. You know what you did. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Um, I do personally think this is like a B, maybe a C. I'm gonna put you in B. Yeah, you can be in B. There you go. Um, I mean, what the fuck can I say about this one? Final Fantasy VII. That game. That game that everyone knows and claims is the best thing ever. Story is good. Gameplay's cool. Music is also good. Maybe it's the fact that people have been singing this game's praise since it came out. Maybe. Maybe it's me just being bitter. But I am so fucking tired of this game. I have played through Final Fantasy VII once. I have attempted multiple replays and I run into the same fucking issue. It's boring. I'm going to be doing a replay through it again sometime soon. Don't know when, soon. I'm looking forward to it. I want to enjoy it. But the game suffers from a lot of lock-off. We have an ease of entry where it's really casual friendly for the first part and doesn't start slapping you around until later. Excuse me. Whew. Whew. Story's good, music's good, gameplay. I don't know what I have to say about gameplay since everybody has their jobs, and then it's Final Fantasy VI once again, where everybody has magic. Some people are better at it, some people are not. But this time around, all players have access to everything. Everybody could be a lancer, everybody could be a black mage, everybody could be a summoner. And it's the lack of diversity that I feel hurts it. And then the game has a lot of padding. I feel one of the things that slows me down is when I have to do another fucking mini game in order to advance the story. I remember something happening. I don't remember what, but I just remember this dreadful feeling in my heart doing a mini game in I believe it was called the City of the Ancients, and you couldn't advance the story without doing this mini game. And as a kid, I just remember struggling on it constantly. I don't know. Are these valid points to hate the game? I don't know. I think overall it does sit high in the tier list as definitely something worth playing. But I don't know. I think once again we reach a point where a lot of the really good items or really fun to play with items are limited access, and once you get so far into the game, you lose them. Personal gripe, 100% bias, is you're only going to be able to master the first enemy magic materia you get, and none of the subsequent. And it's because so many of the blue magic skills are locked behind story or one-time enemies. So as much as you want to master multiple enemy skills for multiple characters, you can't. You can master the first one and that's it. Which means one of your characters is going to be a full-fledged blue mage while the rest are just going to be missing stuff. I remember trying to learn all of the skills and just I couldn't do it. I think I was having trouble with Pandora's Box, Trine, and Beta. All of them being like one-time enemy skills. I think Beta can be learned from other things besides Midgardsormr, but no, I feel like that one's really limited too. But a game shouldn't make me feel punished for not getting something like that. Personal opinion, and this applies to a lot of games. I don't like limited time areas with special items. Limited time areas are good, but when you hide a really good something in that area and then essentially hold up the middle finger to any players who weren't smart enough to check a bush behind a house on the left field, it just feels kind of insulting. Like, some of these areas are catastrophic events, and who the fuck's gonna be berry bush picking during something like that? It's kind of dumb. But what I think would raise 7-Up in my eyes is if characters had more unique skills and more individual not personalities. God, they all have personality. personality in the sense of their abilities. It's great that Aerith gets all those wonderful healing spells and barrier spells and whatnot from her limit break, but more than just her limit break, like an additional ability that is unique to that character. Something like that, you know? But I am doing a replay of the game soon, so maybe my opinions will change. And 7 will go right down in D tier. I'm kidding. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that one. Let's move on to Final Fantasy VIII. That's my baby. I love you. Don't ever change. Don't ever change. And you can stay right there. You know what? No, you can go here. Maybe here? Here. Nah, let's put you here. There. That feels right. Final Fantasy VIII, all my friends during the time of this game's release said they fucking hated it. And the word in my community was bad game. And here I am.
Lone little me, just being like, but I like the game.
Story to me was really good. It had a few hiccups, all that shit with time travel and craziness. That was a little bit of a stretch, but I enjoyed the story. God, the battle system. What about the battle system? What are you thinking? We had character limit breaks. When characters were in peril, you could attack and use signature moves that essentially broke the fucking game. I think forcing a lot of like job specific abilities behind limit breaks really hurt the game. I think some of those abilities should have just been usable from a secondary menu. Oh god. Okay. I really like the combat system with taking magic and putting it into stat slots. I didn't exactly like that as you casted that magic, your stats reverted. I mean, it makes sense. It's just it essentially says gather all this magic and never use it. Which is kind of like counterintuitive. The whole point of magic is to cast it. So when you tell a player, get this magic and never use it, it's kind of like, what? But I want to cast the spell. Is good. Story, gameplay, music. Of course, music is good. It's always good. You're not gonna find a Final Fantasy with bad music unless it's a spin-off or I don't know. I guess we'll get to that when I get there, but Final Fantasy's always had good music. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. So, good story. Okay gameplay. Character lore was alright. It kind of irked me. It just... Something just felt a little too anime and too, God, what is the word I want to use? Predictable? Yeah. I think what brought down the game is enemies scale with you. And you had to be more mindful of your stats via adding magic or finding items that permanently raise your stats. in order to make it through the game. You could do a level 1 run, but you got to be really fucking good. You got to know where to pull the magic. You got to know where to get the stat ups. You got to keep upgrading your gear. To this day, I have not been able to replay this game, and it's because of just how much extra shit you have to do in order to make your characters be survivable through the story. I ran into too many times where common enemies would just wipe the floor with my party. And it's just like, hello? Hello, I haven't even gotten to the boss. What the fuck? You know? So, while I want 8 to be in my top S tier, I want it up there, it committed a few sins. For a game to be up in my top tier, it has to have high replayability, it has to have a draw that makes it fun to play, and mostly it can't have a system that essentially penalizes the player. It can't say, no, don't do that, even though it's going to benefit you. If you do that, you're going to get punished. I don't like that. That's not fun. And that's what the leveling system was all about. Like, you'd gain more stats, but so would the enemies. So it was essentially kind of moot. Okay. Now here's where I'm going to piss off anyone who actually sees this video. You belong there. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And you know why you belong there. So, let's start with story. The story was pretty good. A little dumb at times, but pretty good. Story would get it into S tier if everything else was good. However, I have so many issues with this game. There are so many points of no return, so many limited time items, so many things that just essentially say, oh, it's Tuesday. You were supposed to be here Monday. Restart your game. And the biggest culprit, and the one that I hold my biggest middle finger to, is if you want Steiner's ultimate weapon, the best version of it, you have to get to the end of this game in 12 hours. Which on the original discs was almost impossible. Don't do shit like this. Don't. Music was fucking phenomenal. And it's all ruined because of limited time events and gating. Why would you do that? Why? You had a beautiful fucking game here. And you ruined it. I have countlessly tried to replay this game. And I end up getting frustrated and stopping. Story's great. Mechanics are great. Fighting enemies feels so fucking good. But damn near anything you want to do in this game to bolster your characters is locked. And if you miss that one NPC in that one fucking town, you're fucked. I couldn't finish the Moogle thing because I missed a character on disc 1. Pardon my language, but fuck you, Final Fantasy IX. Fuck you. You know what you did. You belong here. And if they ever remake you, they better fix all those fucking issues. No, I know I just shat all over it, but I wanted to talk about more, some of the stuff that really made the game shine. I loved the the ABT system, where you could watch what's going on with different characters in different places. It's a little convoluted since all they could have done is just like cut away to them instead of giving a player a choice. But allowing player involvement made it kind of unique. Now, something I really liked is how you could learn abilities from garments and weapons. That was kind of cool. However, that's one of those things that pissed me off about the game is if you miss that one ring in that one town that gets blown up, yeah, fuck you. You're never going to learn that ability. That's kind of shit, you know? Essentially, what draws these games down is how much you would have to rely on a guide in order to get everything, instead of it being intuitive and leading players towards these things. Like, there's a sparkling chest off to the side, but no visible way to get to it. Maybe I should stick around a little while and see if I can figure out how to get it. Instead of, like, obtuse, mindless bullshit where you have to stop what you're doing in the town, leave the town, go back 2 towns, go through an old dungeon, go back to one of the first towns, talk to an NPC, tell the NPC to fuck off, leave there, go all the way back to the current area, then progress through the game 10 hours, and then somehow that NPC is like, oh, whoops. And then suddenly that NPC is like, oh, yes. Yes, I will do that thing for you now. What? Ugh, sorry. I really, as you can tell, have a hatred for Final Fantasy IX. But not so much as the next one. Boop. Can anyone tell me why this one deserves to be here? I'll give you a hint. It's round and can go fuck itself. Wow, that could actually encompass a lot of things, no pun intended. Okay. So, Final Fantasy X story. Once again, good story. Good for them. Combat was okay. Music was eh. Okay. Personally, Final Fantasy X's music felt, after Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X's music felt so underwhelming. Like, you cannot have Final Fantasy IX's battle theme be that huge of a bop, and then 10's be so bland, basic, uninteresting. That hurt. That hurt. That hurt. And that was ooh. That was oof. No. So, story, great. Combat, eh. Here's the thing that drags this game down. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. I'm gonna cough. Quick, run for the hills. Ah! Okay. I'm gonna get some water. Give me a second. Also, I'm not looking at chat, so I hope no one's replying. Oh boy. Wonder if I should check. Oh no. Doot. There it is. Hello. Nope. There is no chat. That's good. Do. Let's go back to the other window. Ta-da. Okay. I still have to cough. I still have to cough. Help me. So, what brought this game down is 2 of its major systems, both based off of spheres, sucked. I don't care how good you are at this game. You will never, never convince me that Blitzball was a good idea. That shit sucked and made no fucking sense. I don't know how people are able to beat that first one, the mandatory Blitzball tournament. God, fuck this game. And the other one, and this is the whole reason I'm making this video. I wanted to go off on this game. The sphere grid system can just go to hell. Sorry. You cannot lock leveling behind RNG. You remember the last time that happened? Right here? You see that? Final Fantasy 2? How maybe your HP would rank up, maybe your sword skill would rank up? 10. What the fuck? Did you not learn your lesson? So what I'm referring to is your characters gain sphere levels, which allow them to advance around the sphere grid, or the sphere map, whatever the fuck it's called. But if you don't have the sphere items for the representative slots, fuck you. You can't unlock that thing. You should not. Listen to me very carefully. Come here. Come here. You should not level up and be told, sorry, you don't have a strength sphere right now. Fuck off. That is absolutely insane. Because all of those spheres are RNG drops from enemies, with some being more common than others. I went through that game with multiple characters suffering stat issues because enemies just weren't dropping the items. Which once again brings us to the thing where you would have to have a guide with the information to figure out where to get this shit. Whew, I am so sorry. This game did me wrong, did me dirty back in the day. Like, no matter how much you level, if RNG doesn't treat you good, you're screwed. That's not good. That's bad. However, music and story would easily rank up here. Very good. Wait, music? No. Story, music, combat. Bad. Spank. You're bad. You did bad. Spank. Ugh. Okay, from a very sour note to an addiction. I mean, a positive note. Hello. Good boy. Don't you listen to don't you listen to anything anyone says. You are good. Pet, 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 pet. So, this game does have its flaws. However, I have a violent obsession and bias towards this game. I started it in 2004 and kept going all the way to 2013. And would have kept going had fate not had other plans for me. This game has really interesting stories. Probably not S tier. Probably A tier. Its music is it's so hit or miss. There's some really good tracks. There's some really ambiance works with it tracks. And then they've got some really fucking good bangers. And then some really, 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 really shitty ones. Combat's a bit of a hit or miss depending on what job you're playing as. You get to play as your own character. You get to play as any job. You can unlock everything. However, downside, the game is a slog. Not as bad as it used to be, but a slog. Slog. It should not take 24 hours to level up one level. I have too many memories of just wasting days away trying to level a job and it being a nightmare with how long it took. This game, it's not meant for the faint of heart. It's easier now, but better just to skip it. But if you like traditional MMO grinds, if you like really good kind of traditional medieval and fantasy stories, you enjoy it. But oh boy. There's a lot here to unpack. Now, back in the day, one of the biggest things that was wrong with the game is how much gatekeeping happened. Like, oh, congratulations, you unlocked your job. You now have to wait until JP midnight to do the next quest. Why? Because fucking wait, bitch. There were so many of those time gates where the game's just like, no, come back tomorrow. You want to get in a party to do content? You just unlock that content? Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow. They have since then happily and thankfully changed that bullshit. Most quests that used to take a day, that used to take a week, you can now redo once every hour, which is nice. Leveling is so much faster now, and if you have a friend, it's damn near instant. Not really, but you can be max level in a day, which is a stark contrast from the old days.
Back in my day, it took a day to level. And if you'd wanted to do main scenario, oh fuck, you were in for a month.
A lot of the game is very dated. This is what's going to hold it back for anyone else. It is a PS2 game. It suffers from PS2 graphics and isn't even playable on that system anymore. It's a PC only now, which is hilarious because they did the Xbox release and then like not even 2 years later, gone. Let's see. Let's recap. Okay story. Probably A tier story. Music was hit or miss. What made the game special is you felt like you. You were the main character. You customized your character. You built them up from the ground up. And you flexed. You went, "Roar! This is my character." And it's the fact that the game felt more like personal that puts it so high on the list for me. The social interaction is also really nice. Being able to play a video game and chat with other people was really fun. But all of those gatekeeps, all of those time sinks, all of that stuff that said, come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. For anybody else, I would not be surprised if you put that here. Or even out in the trash. You take it and you put it down here. See? It's gone. But because I personally played the game and grinded and got through all of the stories. It will forever be an S tier. It's one of those games where you just had to be there to appreciate what it was and to appreciate what it is now. Because nobody wants what it was, but we appreciate what it was. And most importantly, we wouldn't have this without this. This game taught a lot of the developers what not to do in future games. So thank you. Alrighty. We're gonna go down here. I want to put it here. I do. But I have 100% of this game multiple times. I had a severe addiction to it and I loved it very much. But this is one of those times where bias and personal feelings don't win it any favors. Here? Somewhere in here. Let's put you here for now. Anybody want to tell me why? The story? Good. Music? Good. Well, music could have been a little bit better, but it's good. He's good. Oh my. So, the story was good. Playing through the game was alright. But the battle system. Jesus fucking Christ. So, playing through the game was good. It was fun. But upon multiple playthroughs, yeah. It's really cute that you put a leveling system in Chapter 3. When that shit should have been there from the get-go. Because those first 2 chapters are a slog. Slog? And it's after 100%ing it multiple times that I realize they did not utilize the battle system. It's essentially stagger the enemy and kill it. Buff your party members to as much as possible, debuff your enemies, and slap and slap and slap and slap and slap and slap. To put it plainly, this game is a chalkboard, a black chalkboard with white chalk, and there is no gradient in between. This was rectified in the second game. The second game, masterpiece. This one, oh boy. Maxing out your stats is damn near impossible due to the fact that it is a grind. I spent hours upon hours farming Crystarium? Krista points? I think it's Krista. Hours upon hours of prepping for each chapter so that when I went into that chapter, I could max out their base jobs. Let me tell you, it wasn't worth it. The stats make very little difference, and the amount of points you need to max out each of them is unreal. I did a speed run of this game, start to finish. Or, well, it wasn't start to finish, it was start to pulse. So, chapter 10? Yeah, chapter 10. And I found out, don't fucking bother with the Krista system. Yes, add points when you have XP. Do it. But don't fuck with it. Because you can get through damn near all of the game without needing it. I think the only times the game will really like straddle you and make you think, oh, I need to level is with is it chapter 7? It's when you get sent to the Ark. That's when it hits. When you have to fight Sid, that's when you're like, oh, I'm underleveled. But even then, if you know what you're doing, you can take Sid out very easily. So essentially, here's a leveling system that's completely worthless until a certain point of the game. You're welcome. So, music, story, probably B tier. All brought down by the leveling system being completely unintuitive. The other thing that brings it down is the game, as everyone has said, is insanely linear. Thankfully, this time around, there's not a lot of one-time items that will ruin the game if you miss them. I think there's damn near none, since everything can be bought from shops, which is nice. But Endgame is boring. Endgame is do these 50 quests for these 50 rocks, and there's no reward. It just feels insulting and kind of a slap in the face. With the only exception being a handful of those rocks are the Titan trials. Those trials were so much fun to go through. And trying to figure out different routes and what your Crystarium needed to be to get through them, that was fun. The problem is, the boss you were supposed to get at the end, the big gift, the big boy himself, Titan, got cut from the game. So it's just like, here goes a firework that doesn't go off. Whee! Foot. We missed out on something really good. And once again, it feels like it was because the dev team was rushed and they had to cut content. We were supposed to get DLC, we never got it. And the end game just wasn't interesting. It was talk to a rock, go fight an enemy, and that's it. Talk to rock, fight enemy. Talk to rock, fight enemy. There was no interesting content besides that. So maxing out the game and 100%ing it was simple. Just very, 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 very time consuming. And maxing out your gil was also very grindy, time consuming, and dumb. Players with actual skill, not me, could take on Adamantoise, kill them, and get an item that sold for a lot of money. I had to use the Doom method, where you have Vanille constantly cast Doom on an enemy until it dies. I wasted so much time on my initial save trying to farm up money to get all the trophies by unlocking all of the weapons and all of the accessories. So yes, sadly, as much as... Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Here we go. Sadly, the biggest drawback of this game is the fact that it's very linear and its endgame is placid. Probably given time, maybe an alternate universe, this would have been something else and something incredible. If you want to play Final Fantasy 13 and feel a really intuitive and fun game, go play 13 too. is good. It has the battle system and the endgame system that 13 didn't. And that one's way more rewarding and fun. The casino can go fuck itself, though. The casino's poop. So there we go. That's why you're here. No, I am so sorry. I swear I am not one of them, but I am. Oh, geez. I gotta blow my nose. Ah. So, 14. I have been playing this game since technically 2010. I took a 2-year break because, because the game broke my computer. I played the original alpha and beta of the game. Both times my computer would hiss and moan at me because loading. I was reintroduced to it in 2013, around the time of its release. And I've been violently addicted to it since. The story is a rough start. I'd say it's everyone's gatekeeper. Is not so much getting through A Realm Reborn. What is stopping people is A Realm Reborn's post-content. Oh yeah. 2.1 through 2.5 is a slog. It is trying to walk through 2 miles of mud, and it is not fun. It is not fun. Story's great. The story gets good. The story gets good. The music. Listen. I can't rate the music. It's too all over the place. It's good, and then it's really good. I really like how personal the game is, and God, I'm gonna use this word wrong. Parasocial the game is. I know I used that wrong. I'm so sorry. It's really fun making friends, going through content and socializing with people. Essentially making an identity for yourself to enjoy the story with. That's why this baby is right here. Because it is a personal experience and a fun one. Its drawbacks have to be, how to criticize a game you love. Oh boy. Let me see. Actually, I think the thing drawing the game down is a lack of difficulty. The game is a very, very casual friendly, and the hard content isn't mandatory. It's optional, and it shouldn't be. The best way to describe this is if you played 2.0 and 2.1. Those of you who know. You guys know. You get it. You would go into dungeons like Amdapor Keep, Wander's Palace. And that shit would smear you against the wall. And you would time out and have to redo the dungeon. There was no party system. There was no easy way to grab people and do stuff. It was a mess. And 2.1 meant to build off of the difficulty. So much so that the dungeon they introduced in that one, Barrow-Cirrus, was the ire of so many players because the bosses would just test your patience.
Hello.
Yes, very spicy. What I was talking about is how Final Fantasy XIV went from being very difficult to timid.
Oh, you're on that subject already.
Oh yes, you remember. You remember going to Pharaoh Cirrus and dreading it?
Yes, because I was terrified of that dungeon. I was going nowhere near that dungeon. That dungeon humbled me.
Okay, everybody. So yes, this is Sanctum. He has randomly joined the chat,
Temporarily, hello.
and he's gonna give his insight to 14. And so tell me something. After 2.1, how did it feel?
After 2.1, after the second, well, yeah, after the first patch of Around Reborn,
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the changes they made to the Pharaoh series?
I'm talking about stepping into the next dungeon.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, in all consideration, I was personally new to MMOs, so the difficulty was not something that I was ready for, especially since I was not that good at my job. I wasn't doing any raiding. Looking back on it, though, I kind of appreciate the difficulty of a lot of that content because after a while, it made me a better player. It became entertaining when you actually knew what you were doing. However, though, the difficult content did breed a lot of toxic people. But I don't know. It was kind of nice having toxic assholes instead of toxic positivity like we have now. So, I mean, it's not like you win either way.
Yeah, yeah. So do you remember what 2.2's dungeon was?
No, you have to be about 2.1.
I don't remember what 2.2's dungeon is.
Back then, we used to get a lot of dungeons, though.
Yeah, 3 dungeons per patch. 1 standard and then 2 hard mode.
Let's see. Because the first dungeons we...
Ah, I remember!
Oh.
It was one of my faves.
Really, man.
Well, you could say you could get lost in it.
Lost City of Vanderport Keep?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
2.2. But in comparison to original Pharaoh Cirrus, how easy was it?
Oh, wow, to be honest.
Yeah. So I think that's the current drawback of 14 is it's too casual friendly. It's too easy.
I mean, I was relieved when that dungeon came out because, I mean, it still had its difficulty, but it was not as hard as the dungeons before it. It's just that I feel like there just should have been a balance.
Exactly. So I'm going to make an assumption, and it's how I feel. But to me, Pharaoh Cirrus felt like a Criterion dungeon.
Yeah.
When I think what we needed was, I want to say, wait, what is it called?
What, Variant?
Thank you.
No, Variant is too easy. Variant is pretty much what we have now for current dungeons.
But what I want to emphasize is think of all the stuff you have to do in Variant to actually progress.
Oh, you mean how dungeons used to be structured?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in all fairness, I think those dungeons should be reserved for any dungeon that's not story related.
Fair.
If there was any dungeon that was just additional just for grinding,
Mm-hmm.
then sure, I feel like that's fine. But then again, the community complained that if you have to grind something, why do you have to spend so much time?
Ugh. You see, we're not gonna win.
I mean, no. I think they have a good thing going on with variant criteria. It's just that they need.
My apology. I mean, you're not gonna win either way.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. We're never going to see dungeons where you have to interact with stuff. We're not going to find dungeons where you actually have to do puzzles. That's why players like Bozja. That's why they want another one of Bozja's.
Personally speaking, I feel like the enemies that you have in Basha and Eureka should be in the overworld because I think you need something to terrify you on your day-to-day adventure.
No shit.
Like the beast tribe encampments, I thought used to always be cool, especially being a low level.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should always be high level monsters in certain areas that you can't over level.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a problem with that.
What's that?
That's old MMO mentality.
But it's fun.
Tell that to a casual. Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying to have those monsters be in a pathway to most quests.
Eureka Pagos. Mm-hmm. Sleeping Ice Dragons, level 50. You try to walk past. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those.
That is old MMO mentality. Because, you know what that says? This enemy is hard. But if you had 3 friends with you, it wouldn't be. It forces party play.
Yes. But there is a lot of single player area.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that and technically, if you don't need anything from that enemy, you just sneak around it. Or you could strategize, and once you're at a max level, you just struggle to beat it.
Nowadays, with the Echo, yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying. Well, it doesn't have to be unbeatable to a point where you need a party. It could just be just that difficult that you would like to have a party.
You're saying it. Go on.
If you aren't skilled enough to beat it on your own.
Yes.
So
my view of it, you can kill it eventually, but it's faster and more fun with a party.
yes.
And less dangerous.
So incentivizes party play, but at the same time does not discourage solo play. But I don't want you to stay on a single topic for too long.
No, this is a good topic.
Maybe. And I could be very senile, especially when it comes to old content. However, you still have 4 Final Fantasy.
It's all right.
Oh, okay.
But we are reaching the end of 14. Essentially, I was talking about the cons, about what brought the game down, and I was at the point where it's like, it's the casualness. Because you can take every expansion now, Heavensward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, Endwalker, and it's just like you could rearrange them in any order, and the difficulty's the same across the board. They didn't bring it up. They didn't make things harder. It's all just the same. And playing through it, it's kind of boring. Because when you're going through casual content, it's watch out for the bosses, whatever he's doing. Look for The AoE circles, stack when you need to stack, don't stack when you need to don't stack, and you're done. There's very few fights that require thinking.
Out of curiosity, and my brain's a bit fuzzy, but during Stormblood for the story fight of Shenryu,
Mm.
did if you fell off, were you able to be res?
Yep.
Okay. I feel like that's one feature they should probably.
Mm-hmm. Personally, this is a evil wish that I want. Hard mode servers. Servers that you can't transfer to or off of.
No, that's too much.
No. Listen. XP does not come from quests. No XP from main scenario. You have to grind to level. And when you get into dungeons, you don't get XP. Not big ones. You get small ones from enemies. Take that XP, put it to there. On top of that, upon death, can't be raised. Or specifically, if you fall off of something, you can't be raised.
Personally, I think you're going to need XP gain from dungeons because
You'd get it from the enemies again.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you restrict XP gain only from the enemies that's in,
Overworld?
then yeah, there's going to be a lot of griefing going on.
Yes. Yes,
And I
there
mean,
is.
Yes, you can party up for like fates and stuff, which is what a lot of people did in A Realm Reborn.
I'm thinking A Realm Reborn as in you did dungeons to level up. Don't you remember when back in the day you would have to like run a single dungeon multiple times before you could advance story?
Yeah. But there was also a lot of other things too, like,
Mhm.
the fate grind. And your hunting log, which I thought was a good idea. Even if it was short, it was a good XP gain.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, left quests, something that seemed like they were very proud of, and but that has gone to the wayside.
Yes, it has.
So
My very first job to 50, back in the day, was White Mage. Do you know how I leveled that?
left quest?
No. White Mage Fate Party. In Northern Thanaland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Spamming Holy, because at level 45, White Mages got Holy.
And doing fates back then to level up was fun.
Mm-hmm. Sure is a shame it isn't fun anymore.
Which is crazy because they incentivize actually doing fates by having XP gain for certain fates.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not enough.
No, it's not. You feel like it's a grind and that it's faster to jump into a dungeon. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think what brings 14 down is the fact that it's too casual. Oh my god. I went straight to 14. I missed 12. It's for the better. Bomp. Alrighty, for those of you who've played Final Fantasy XII, we all know that the story is S tier, and of course it's because it's an Ivalice game. It's a fucking Ivalice game. The story was incredible to go through. There were a few dry areas where it kind of slogged. I'm looking at you, still Shrine of Miriam. You know what you did, jerk. The music was very atmospheric and it worked for the game, and the bops they had were very shiny. I think what brought it down was once again we're looking at combat, and combat being the real issue. Um, a lot of the characters you could just set and forget. With the original release of the game, without the Zodiac system, characters could be essentially automated to be bots. And it made a lot of the tedious fights really easy. But it was still fun to play through, and combat wasn't too bad. I think what makes it a C tier is lack of replayability, and its endgame bosses or optional bosses being so specific on how you have to beat them that they just feel one note and done. Of course, there's the fabled Yizamat fight where you just keep going in and out, deal damage, out, deal damage, deal damage, until it's dead. And that was kind of eh. It didn't so much feel like an accomplishment as just a grind. Now, if you could sit there and take out Yizmat from beginning to end in one session, that's impressive. That's clapworthy. You did good. But the fact that it had that much HP to begin with was its real sin. There's no reason for that. No fight should last that many hours. From a sci-fi perspective, it kind of feels cool, because imagining fighting an actual dragon and all that, and it taking that long. Yay. But still, that's a 12-hour fight. No. No. I want to put it in B. I really do, but we're just gonna leave it right here. Yeah. I don't know how much more I want to talk about it. I love the characters, love the story, love the music. Combat was hit and miss. It was alright. You know what? Here. You go here. You were alright. Just don't do it again. Alrighty. 15. I wanna laugh with you guys about this. I recently 100%ed Final Fantasy 15. Just recently. And it was after 100%ing it that I learned how to do the combat. That's not good. That's bad. That's really, really, really bad. I had no idea that the direction of which you held the analog stick determined your attacks. I went back and I played chapter 1 after learning this, and I wiped the floor with everything knowing this. And I just felt so terrible because I legitimately did not remember this. And it's just like, oh, if I had known that, this game probably would have been better. But that's the part that speaks bad of the game. I was able to play through everything. I was able to platinum everything without using that system. And if you can beat a game without using its initial system, that's not good. The music was good here and there. It was mostly an atmospheric game instead of one with like really, really, really intense music. Big battles had good music. Dungeons, some were hit or miss. The story was alright, but the story felt like you took a jar of M&Ms and Skittles and pretzels and mixed it up and then filled the entire jar with pepper. It just made no sense. It was very, very like sporadic, very unhinged, very like, I don't know what I'm doing, but apparently this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know? Like, God, what is that town called? Lestalem? You get to Lestalem, and the game stops you and says, go fight Titan. Why? Go fight Titan. You later find out you have to fight Titan because there's an arm there. But, ugh. Jesus fucking Christ. There's so many times where the straight line from the start of the game to the end of the game is literally just stopped, go do the thing, and come back. There's the Waterfall Shrine. There's the, God, I want to call it the Still Shrine of Miriam, but it's not. What was that jungle place called? I don't remember. But again, it stops you and tells you to do a thing. Then there's that Forest Fortress where the game's like, yeah, stop, go take care of the Imperials, then come back. And that's just how it felt throughout the entire game. It was, instead of just progressing, stop. Do a little dance. Come back. The game was not, in my eyes, fun at all. And when it finally became fun, I had already finished it. It's not a bad game. It's just, I think this is one of those games that suffered from, once again, just forced development issues. And the fact that they kept rewriting the story. Doesn't one of the DLCs, like, essentially retcon the entire story? It was Arden, right? I'm gonna have to look into that. But, yeah. 15, no. Personally, that sits down low on the list. I don't know if I have a right to play this. Or talk about this, since I didn't play the game, I osmosised the game. I watched Sanctum play this game all the way through from beginning to end. And when I went to go play it for myself, it's like, I've already played this game, haven't I? I think I have. But that being said, without playing it, let me put that big ass caveat there, I would probably put it in A or B tier. We're gonna put it in A for now. And I'll tell you what it was like osmosising this game. Being that this game was developed by the same team as Final Fantasy XIV, it has one major glaring issue to me. And that is, I feel like I'm being retold the same story again. It's the Primals once again, it's the Ascians once again. Just, we're being fed the exact same story again, just from a different angle. The interactions with the main character and the other, like, primal users? Well, I know they're called icons, but what are the people who wield them? What are they called? Covenants? Conduits? You forgot? Well, it just seemed like another Final Fantasy story that was about the summons. You know, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy XI. Hey, writers of Final Fantasy, let me teach you something. Final Fantasy's not about the primals. It's not about the summons. Stop it. Get some help. So I think what brought the game down for me, while watching Sanctum play through it, is that it just seemed like a retelling instead of a game that has its own story with Final Fantasy stuff sprinkled on top. It just felt like it was hitting all the same beats again and not really bringing anything new to the table.
Dominance.
Ah, they're called dominants. Nice. The people that wield icons are dominants. I don't know why I forgot that. Now, of course, with Soken being the musician, of course the music of 16 is a bop all the way through. So you're not going to hear any complaints there from me. I think the story involving the interactions, let me be very specific about this. The interactions with the characters outside of the primals was actually really interesting. It felt like I was watching almost a Game of Thrones or Star Wars-esque kind of thing. And I liked that. It was a big change from everything we've gotten before. And I mean, right at the beginning with Hugo and what is her name? Bayonetta?
Can't be putting me on the spot like this.
Garuda.
I know who you're talking about. Just forgot again.
Damn. That smoochy scene was Benedicta, there we go. That scene was a shock. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. That was cool. I played the demo, so I can at least claim that. And the demo I actually really enjoyed. Combat system on the other hand, oof. I think they oofed. I think they found one thing that worked and they said, okay, let's keep doing that repeatedly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3s are never a good thing with me. And it seems like when you're doing basic combat, that's all it is. // uppercut. / uppercut. And nothing changes. While watching Sanctum, I did see some really cool things where he would put up Ramu's ability, to continuously deal damage as long as you're striking an electrical crystal. That seemed cool. And it seemed to deal more damage if you were hitting both the boss and the crystal, which gets big thumbs ups from me. However, when Sang got to the actual grind, where he was doing a bunch of like endgame content, or not so much endgame, but the stuff to power yourself up even more, it just seemed like the combat system was left wanting. Like something just was missing, that it needed an oomph, and there was no oomph. I think that's it. Good story, alright combat, music was good too. And, of course, Torgal will always be best boy. Eagle boy. He did nothing wrong. He actually did a lot right. He was a good character, holy shit. And I don't think I'm gonna rate Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or no, not Rebirth, Remake, because I already went into detail about my feelings of the original 7, and they are amplified in Remake. Um, I haven't finished it. I'm probably halfway through it, but I'm going to tell you right now. In a game about being padded, don't pad it more. I was screaming in pain trying to get through Remake because it was nothing but padding. Oh, God damn it. I'm rating it. Here. You're going right here. That's where you belong. Everyone knows what you did wrong. Everyone knows because Rebirth would probably go here, if not here. Rebirth is actually fun. Don't play Remake. Go play Rebirth. It's good. But to be serious, getting through Remake has been excruciatingly painful. As much as I want to play it, I keep feeling pushed away by just all this unnecessary filler. And you know it's filler because the game actually makes fun of it. There's a point where you finish going through a side area that was not in the original game, and one of the characters goes, hey, we have to go into the sewer level now in order to continue the game. And then the game derails from that back on track and does the actual story. Almost as if a middle finger to themselves. Saying, haven't you enjoyed all of this side bullshit we've been putting in? Oof. No. Right there. You're going there. And if I ever beat you, if I ever finish this, we'll have another talk. But for now, that's where you're going. Also, that one song that plays in the sewer, the the aggression theme, that shit's a bop. But that's all you're getting from me, mister. Alrighty. To summarize, that's my thoughts on the series. One of the main issues is in order to get a wider audience with the games, they have to go with casual, but the problem with casual is the developers aren't getting the difference between elevating from casual into a standard level of difficulty and just being casual throughout. And the biggest nail in the coffin is the fact that some of their biggest games, the ones people love the most, are casual all the way through and not hard. Final Fantasy IV suffered because it was so easy all the way through. And a game should be progressively challenging. You should feel pressure going through the game. And you should feel that pressure alleviated when you do something rewarding. Whether it be find a new item, equip a new weapon, learn a new magic, something like that. And the fact that some of these games just don't do that is the real reason that it's just kind of hurting. You're allowed to have a difficult game. It's okay. But it doesn't need to be super hard, and it shouldn't be super easy. You need a casual curve and a bit of leeway. Every now and then a boss should be a little bit easier. Another time it should be a little bit harder. But never at both ends of the spectrum. Don't do that to people. You're not going to have a fun time. Think back to Final Fantasy X. There were so many people who struggled on the Sanctuary Keeper and, God, what is he called? What's that asshole's name? I want to call him Sephiroth, but he's not Sephiroth. I legitimately can't remember his name. He's a reoccurring boss throughout the entire thing. And his encounter on Mount Gagazet is a prime example of going too hard in one direction. Oh, my brain's trying to remember. My brain's trying to remember. Damn. Where are you? Boop. Wow, he's not here. Yes, show me antagonists. Show me the jerks. He's not here. D, why isn't he here? He's not considered an antagonist. And I still can't remember his name. Ah, there it is. Seymour. Suddenly Seymour. I came and I found you. Seymour. Yes, the fight with him on Mount Gagazet was painful. Very painful. Oof. Yes. At the end of the day, always remember to tip your waitress. But not too far, because they will fall over. I think I'm done. I think I'm good. I hated this. I think we're good to go. We're gonna head back. Whoop. Hello. Those of you brave souls who have clicked on this video in error, I hope you've enjoyed watching. Those of you who did click on this video willingly and actually stuck through to the end, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed my weird and abstract opinions about some of your favorite games. Thanks again for stopping by. I hope you all have a wonderful day. It is currently noonish. Is it noonish? I think it's noon. No, it's getting close to noon. Have a wonderful afternoon. Have a wonderful lunch. And hopefully it won't be another month before my next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye, friends. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Bye. See ya.